Being on stage in front of hearing people, making them laugh who belittled me for most of my life, was a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It was a hard thing to do. But may God bless me that it wasn't about me anymore. It was about my audience. So when I get on stage, it's not about my story. It's about what you can learn from my story. How can you grow? How can you find that inner power? How can you change your life for the better? Life should not be difficult. We make it difficult. We don't have problems. We create them. For some reason, society has taught us all this negative stuff on the news, negative, negative, negative. So what do? You get people's attention with negativity. No, you can do it with positivity and change the format of your community.
So, hello and welcome to The Art of Aliveness with Annie B. And I am thrilled to be here today with Kathy Buckley. And I'm going to look down and letting you know in advance. I'm going to look down because I want to read who Kathy Buckley is in the world. And she's extraordinary. So Kathy Buckley is an award-winning actress, internationally renowned comedian, international speaker, advocate, and best-selling author. If you could see what I hear, often called America's first hearing impaired comedian, she is taking a life filled with labels, trauma, and even pronounced dead on a beach. Wait till we hear this story. And turned it into a living, breathing masterclass in choice, forgiveness, and outrageous aliveness. I first experienced Kathy in a Year of Miracles retreat created by a dear friend of both of ours, Marcy Shimoff. Kathy had an entire room crying one moment, laughing the next, and suddenly seeing all of our own lives so differently through her lens. Her message is my message. You are not your age, you're not your diagnosis, and you're not your circumstances. We all always have the power to choose how alive we are willing to be. And Kathy, thank you for saying yes to dancing with me, for being here. And Kathy's story is so inspiring. Her life is inspiring. And her story weaves together comedy, trauma, resilience, and a deep commitment to helping others remember their worth. She has performed on some of the biggest stages and appeared on national TV, inspires audiences all around the world. And she brings light to the darkest places. In our conversation, we'll explore how she transforms pain into laughter, the role of humor in the creative process, and what it means to stay fully alive, and how can we reclaim our voices. And one of the biggest things, my intention for us together, is that this is an invitation for our viewers and our listeners to disrupt the stories of I can't, I'm too old, it's too late, and to embrace every piece of ourselves wherever we are in our life journey. And I am so honored, Kathy, to have you. And one of the things I'm thinking is laughing in the face of limits. That's like our biggest challenge. And you are a gift in that arena. And one of the things that I always do is the question I start with is, with all of that and all of your accolades, at this point in your life, Kathy, what's most important to you? What matters the most?
What matters the most to me is I maintain my health, eat healthy, I swim every day. I think I was supposed to be a fish. And every morning I wake up, I live alone, I wake up going, good morning to everything. And my house is, my kitchen being redone, as you can see with the plastic up on the wall. I'm embracing my new me. I'm recreating it. And this is the great thing about life. You can recreate yourself at any given time throughout the process of your living, because it's so rewarding to see your growth. We are continuing learning, we're continuing growing, And I'm not talking Christmas with cookies, okay? Because that's the cookbook growth I don't want. But we are so precious to so many. The problem is that sometimes we don't think we're precious.
Right.
And we need to work on ourselves as individuals to believe the gift that we have within us. And the first gift is to learn to love yourself. Love your body. Love the way you feel. Even if you have pain, pain is nothing more than a wake up to remind you that you live in this body. So for me, it's just embracing everything I get to see, everything I get to hear, everything I get to touch. I just say thank you to the Lord every day. So the most important thing to me is know that I'm not alone on this planet.
Thank you. And that's, I think, Kathy, that's one of the things about being with you, and that we get to, each side of the art of aliveness, why this is called the art of aliveness. And who I speak to are artists, and artists of all ages, shapes, and sizes as it started to unfold. And what are the habits? What's the mindset? That in the world of creativity and the arts, there's such a bias about fine arts and museums. I have an art history background. I was raised in that very traditional model. But the desire to create and express ourselves, as you're pointing to, as a lifelong journey and experience. Now, I'm really interested inside, and I love everything you said, because I think that what matters, I think, say our health is our wealth. That doesn't matter how much financial currency one has. When we can't wake up in the morning and go out and be in the day and go be alive,
Exactly.
and you've had a lot. This is the amazing thing with you. And I would love, like when you're saying you're reinventing yourself, if you would kind of roll back a little, like when did you first realize? Because I've done a little research about Kathy, but everybody who's listening and watching doesn't know about Kathy's background. When did you first discover that you were an artist? Comedians, when I think about artistic expression and creative expression, I think and you may know better than I do, there's a statistic. It takes 17 face muscles to smile and then on 230 to frown. It's much more efficient to smile and to laugh than to move in a frowny, squishy up face. And so will you share with us what's the journey been? Because as you said, this experience of recreating ourselves every day. This isn't, especially when I think about the image that I've read about you dead on the beach and they pronounce you dead, and what it was like. Kathy and I have had the opportunity. There is an extended family member in my husband's family that has some hearing challenges. And I think about one of the things for us as women, as we age, and I think it's for women a lot, but where you, to me, are so extraordinary that women, as we age, get stuck in am I relevant? Will anyone hear my voice? Am I going to be seen? Does anybody really care what I have to say? And am I relevant? And that's one of the things that, to me, is so inspiring with you, that you have transcended things that are there that could stop people from speaking, from being out there, the guts and the courage that it takes, to me, to be up on a Tony Robbins stage, to be on TV, to have your voice heard in the world. And yet, when we got on today, Kathy said, Andy, you have a cold? And I said, no, I'm just in my raspy voice, not being stopped by having a little bit of hoarseness. All of these things that get in our way. So all of that said, will you take us back before you keyed in, and how did you key in to your gift to bring levity and humor and perspective to some of the things that really stop people and traumatize them? It's an amazing journey. So if we're back to before the reinvention, where did we start? And it might be when you were 8, and they labeled you,
Let's start at birth.
Okay.
Let's start when I came out and went, hello. But I was an RA factor baby.
Okay.
We were in an Air Force base, and when you're an RH factor, that means your blood does not match. The parents' blood don't match. So they did have to give you a blood transfusion within 24 hours. Well, they didn't have blood on the base at the time for me. So I had the priest come. Well, I didn't have it because I couldn't say anything, but my mom had the priest came and give me my last rites because they didn't think I was going to make it. They finally found blood like at 36 hours or something. And then I had spinal meningitis when I was about 3 or 4. Right. And so I had spinal meningitis, so I was contained because nobody was allowed to be around me because it's very contagious. So I beat that. Then you get through life and you're wondering what life is all about, and nobody knows you're deaf, including yourself, because when you're young, you only know, what you see. And God gave me a gift that I was able to lip read people, so they didn't think of deafness. I was able to comprehend what was going on, but I wasn't able to reciprocate. Mm-hmm. And when I did learn to speak, they said, oh, she has a lazy tongue. And I would look in the mirror as a kid going, what are you doing in there? It's like, why are you so lazy? And but I never fit in. I was in the school for retardation. Well, I hate that word, but that was the name of the school. Right. But it was for mentally challenged. So I was in the school for the mentally challenged for 2.5 years. They just assumed that there was the thought that I did not process well. And so what ended up happening, I was 8 years old when they found out I was deaf. Now, 8 years is a long time to go without language. Yeah. There's no connection, there's no love, there's no understanding. So you're all alone in this quiet world. And then you meet this incredible teacher who taught me how to talk, who really believed in me. But when society starts putting labels on you, it becomes your belief system. Yep. And no matter how many times people will say, oh my God, you're fabulous, your belief system starts from the beginning. But my belief system was, there's something wrong with my brain. I can't read. I can't comprehend. I'm not speaking right. And so you hide everything. You hide. So you hide the fact that you're ignorant. You hide the fact that you can't do certain things like everybody else. But you don't know why you're hiding. Right. You just know you're hiding something. It's a secret, but you don't even know what the secret is. So you go through life being your own absolute worst enemy. Yeah. Because you never take the time to ask yourself the right questions. You keep saying the same thing over and over. I'm stupid. I can't hear. I can't. I hate that word can't. And I actually hate the word hate, and I don't even know why I said it. Yeah. But the thing is that, so when I was young, I was being molested in my home. So now I don't have a safe place anywhere. I don't have that connection with anyone. My household, my growing up, my mom was a wonderful mom. She did what she knows. And this is the thing I had to learn in life. Everybody has a backstory. Everybody has a reason as to why they behave the way they behave, because it becomes a belief system. So for me, my belief is I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, and so I'm growing up trying to fit in a society where everybody sees me as a hearing person when I'm not, because I'm faking it. I'm going through life being something that I think society wants me to be. And so I'm following the rules and the games of society, and I'm becoming trying to be like everybody else. I'm a chameleon. I copied everybody's clothes or makeup, whatever it would be. I had no identity. Right. And then when I was kicked out of the house, when I was 17, 18, and then at 19, I was laying on a beach sunbathing, and a lifeguard Jeep ran me over. Ran over my face, stomach, chest, side, and back. I was laid up for 5
How did he not see you?
I had a red, white, and blue bathing suit on. That could be a part of the problem. I don't know. But I think the lifeguard was talking to somebody else in the Jeep at the time, and she just didn't pay attention. And so anyway, I got run over. I was laid up for 5 years. I was in and out of a wheelchair for 2.5 years. And you got to learn to love yourself if you want to survive in this world. The great thing about that accident, I really believe, accidents, illnesses, whatever it may be, is nothing more than a wake-up call for you to get reversed into what you really have. See, this here, right here, my body is my house.
Yeah.
But I was so afraid of it for so long. I didn't want it. I didn't like it. It's ugly. It's this and that. Because when you've been molested, you've been taught to believe you're broken. And I was broken from the Jeep accident.
Right.
And who's going to get me up and walking? Me.
Right.
Who's going to try to feed me right? Me. I'm responsible for this house. I'm responsible for making it so that I can live in it and share with others. Whatever. I don't mean share like, no. But I'm my house is to be loved by me first and foremost, before anybody else. I had to learn how to respect this house.
Right.
And then a couple of years later, I get cancer. I'm deaf. I don't understand what cancer is. I'm scared.
Right.
Again, I had to get into my body to process the healing. And then when I finally beat that, all I ever wanted in my life was to be a nurse. I wanted to help people. My biggest hero when I was in the hospital was a nurse who came in my room and she stroked my forearm. And she said a magic word. She said, you're going to be okay. Because everybody had a mask on for the 13 days I was in intensive care. So I couldn't live with anybody. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know I didn't know anything. But when that nurse came and she stroked my forearm, and I opened my eyes, and that little chubby face, she had a chubby face with thick glasses, beautiful. I loved her. First thing she said was, are you okay? I can't talk because I have tubes down my throat, everything. And then she goes, do you need anything? And I'm thinking to myself, she needs those glasses. She can't see there's a tube down my throat. And then she goes, then she said, you're going to be okay. Do you know how much that meant to me in that moment? When you're in constant fear of not understanding what's going on with your body, the only place that you'll ever have in your whole life is your house. Too many people are worried about all the materialistic things that they can gather. They don't stop to think that everything they have of value is right here. Because this is where you store your emotion. This is where you have your love. This is where you have your pain. This is your house. This is the most valuable asset you'll ever have, and it's the only one you get.
Right.
And so I had to learn all these things all over again. And I gotta tell you, when you take care of this, you'll see things that you've never seen before. Hummingbirds, lizards, flowers, trees. You see shadows. You start seeing things and appreciate the gift that is being given to you that are free.
Right.
Joy. Did I ramble on? I do that.
No. No, the answer is no, you didn't ramble on. And you're filling in. I'm sitting here, and this is the experience. This is why I asked you to be with us. Everything that you're saying, Kathy, we all, when I think about as human beings, as women, everything you're saying, and I really, my hope is that as people are watching and they're listening, that Kathy Buckley, go to her website, go and look at the extent of who Kathy Buckley is in the world. Like this podcast, share this, because her messaging is so universal. So on the one hand, I'm listening as a listener, just so you know. So when you say, are you rambling on? I am listening and being with you. It's your story, it's my story, because what you're demonstrating is the human story as a story. We all have our variations. Some people how their upbringing was, their birth, their blood, like all of that. That each one of us, and yet there is that gift, the space of this being. And I know, Kathy, somewhere I think you became a Reiki practitioner. So your understanding about the mind-body connection. And that's what I'm hearing when there's quote unquote, and Kathy, it's like when there's nothing wrong, right? Whether we've got a challenge and that gets labeled as a something wrong, and then we integrate that and it becomes our identity versus, no, I'm whole and complete. This is so much my message, and I think it's your message as well. We are whole and complete, just the way we are. And having a challenge with our hearing, do we look at ourselves in the mirror and say, oh, I have brown eyes, I'm a bad person? No, we look and we say, oh, I have brown eyes. Oh, isn't that interesting? You have green eyes, you have blue eyes. Whatever the interpretation is and the meaning that we add to whatever the circumstances are. And there's a talk that I did on a platform called Speak. And it was when I had the conversation with my radiation oncologist that what they thought was a benign cyst was a malignant tumor. And I created a talk called The Wake Up Call, Cleverly Disguised Gift. And when, like your nurse, when I left the meeting with the oncologist before they sent the sample that they took to the pathology lab, he looked at me and he said, Anne, whatever it is that comes back, I feel it in you. I see it in you. You will be fine. And that belief, and that frequently it does come from outside of us, somebody putting their hand on us and touching us and saying, Kathy, you have everything you need. And yes, there are challenges, but you occupy this house. So your metaphor about our home and our bodies as our home and our soul and our spirit. And so I hope I didn't ramble on, but that's what I'm taking.
You were ramblers.
But this is why I wanted you here, because again, this is how I was when I met you. I just sat there going, all the things that we get caught up in, and especially as women and society and the values, that we don't have any idea who we are. Like our sense of self, we identify with everything and everyone around us. So again, this takes me back. How, with all of this going on, and I am like so blown away, they declare you dead, and then going through rehab and mobility, all of these things. And then you end up being a comedian and you bring levity to those things that traditionally have people be on medications. I say meditation doesn't matter what it is, for depression and anxiety. And this is why I want your voice out there, because I listen to you and it's like, Jesus, the stuff that I get messed up about when I sit and say, nobody cares, nobody loves me. And it's like, it's such baloney. And
It's like a
amazing.
the one voice you should never listen to is the one that whispers in your mind, because that voice is there to put limitations on you. And most people, they don't even get in touch with their body until their body hurts. And then it's all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, I have a leg? Oh my God, I have an arm? Oh, when did this happen, And then now they start looking, now they become in fear of their body because it's hurting. Well, the truth of the matter is, if you don't take care of your house, they're not going to let a dump truck empty it out in your living room.
Right.
So why do you want to put the junk in your mind? Why do you want to put the things that you're less than? What happened is I was comparing myself with people. I thought I had to have big boobs to be desirable. I really did, but I'm 6 foot tall. I'm rich. Yeah, I'm 6 foot tall. So can you imagine? I would look like this. I would look like Kiss on a stick. I would just fall over if I had it done. But I was looking for acceptance. But the person I didn't look for acceptance from was me. I didn't know. And what I had to do, this is what ended up happening for me. I was in 10 states in 9 days. And I came home from the road. And I was crying. I was changing clothes on the plane, getting on stage, coming back. I was exhausted. You know how we all give ourselves a little pity party? So I'm crying in my office. And there's pictures of kids all over the wall, kids that I've gotten surgeries or educational programming set up for. And I'm looking at the kids and I'm going, God, why am I doing this? I'm all alone. I have nobody to support me. And I looked at the pictures of the kids and I'm like, oh, screw the kids. And I was just so upset. And then I turned around and there's a cartoon on the wall with that little girl. And she has these hearts going to the heavens. And it says, God, if I give away all my love, would you give me a refill? And I thought to myself, I need to refill myself. What is my refill? I can't ask God to do everything. So I sat here and I thought and I said, oh my gosh, when I'm home from the road, I go in all my neighbors' pools when they're at work. They don't need to know where I am all the time, okay? So I love being in water because water was my therapy and keeping my body moving when I got out of the chair. Okay. So I said, I want my own pool. I want a pool where I don't have to go out in the neighborhood in my swimsuit. They don't need to see my cellulite. So I went and I saved for 5 years and I put in a small pool in my backyard. It's called an endless pool where you swim in place and whatever have you. When I'm in that pool, I fill myself up emotionally, spiritually, physically. And I look at the yard, and every once in a while, there's a new flower in bloom. I always say, God is my boyfriend. He brings me the best flowers. And I get out there, and then I see the hummingbird, and I look at the lizards that are humping on the floor. I have no idea what they're doing, but I love them. And you get to embrace simple things. We worry about what we don't have. Why can't we focus on what we do have? We have so much within ourselves. People do not know the power they have within themselves. And it's as simple as changing your vocabulary.
Right.
Watch your words. Your words can make or break you. And you are the only one that can break you. You can't give your power to somebody else and say, they did this to me, they did that to me. No, it's you. It's how you receive the information. Are you going to be a victim or are you going to be victorious? Are you going to move on? You have the power within you. Nothing can stop you but you.
Kathy, take us back. Because when I think about, as you've been sharing, I'm thinking anybody who's watching and listening. So here we've got all these different things in I'm assuming your 20s, 30s, all these challenges. So what was the journey? What was the switch? I know there was a moment, pretty sure there was a moment where you got your voice, your perspective, your wit, your humor, because how I know you, again, from being with Marcy, but then from doing research about you, you are international. Kathy and I had been like back and forth to have us be together. And she said, well, I'm going to be on the road. And where was I? It was at a conference. I was here. How many people that are listening, that are out there in the world, that know they have something to say? And there's a reality called, how do you get bookings? How do you get on stages? Given everything you've shared with us, there has been a journey that people found you and hire you. And I'm not talking about it from the money hire you piece, that people want you and your voice in front of their world. What was that journey? Because I know you travel all the time. And I'm sitting here going, well, okay, you went from being almost dead and rehab and then a Reiki practitioner. And then what was the light bulb? Comedy is my gift, the capacity to bring that levity. And what you're talking about, and this is in our world, and I'm going to say in our world and in the transformational world, there's a big buzz phrase about have an attitude of gratitude. Tony Robbins is one of the biggest people that's been talking gratitude for years. You and I are talking about the simple things, and I love when you said, God is my best boyfriend. He brings me the most beautiful flowers. Gratitude is seeing the little magic in the little things of life, and being grateful and embracing and saying, one of the things that I'm always grateful for is, I don't know who developed toilet paper. I'm really grateful somebody came up with the notion of toilet paper. Yeah, I don't know what we were using leaves before. All right. I'm grateful every time I go to the bathroom. When I press it, I'm like, I'm really grateful for toilet paper. I'm really grateful for Kleenex. It's nice to blow my nose out with my hand. It's so simple. So what was the journey? Like, what was that moment where, to me, it is a big deal that you are up on stages. And I know so many people who are like, how do I have the courage? One of the things they talk about, and I think this was in a call actually with Marcy in one of her programs, Happy for No Reason, and I'm certified in Happy for No Reason. And one of the biggest fears that people have, we think it's death, we think it's taxes. It's actually being up on stage, because the fear of being up in front of a public stage is that we will be outed, that we will not fit in, and we will lose community, that we will be judged and assessed for what it is that we deliver, and we will be ostracized. So there's the psychological risks of being willing to throw yourself up on the stage and be a presence in that world. So that's another thing that just blows my mind with you, because I've been a speaker, I've been up on stages, and I don't know, I really wasn't aware of that. I think whatever that fear was, I just set it aside when I trusted myself.
Well,
So
look,
I'm so curious, what was the journey from Reiki practitioner, like you wanted to be a nurse, but you weren't, like all of that, and how the hell did you end up as an internationally renowned inspirational speaker?
when I died on the beach from the Jeep accident, I received an amazing gift. And the gift was, see, I spent the first half of my life looking for three things: love, warmth, and acceptance. And when I died, I got a love.
Right.
That love was the first time I felt loved. I'm not saying everybody go die so you can feel loved. Okay, that's not how that works.
Right.
But that love that I got told me that I'm not alone. And not only that, but it also gave me a gift of choice. It let me choose whether I was going to go or stay.
Right.
I don't know if I was thinking too clearly because I just got run over by a Jeep, but you go from that and then you go to try to survive. And then I was on welfare, Social Security, a disability. I was on things that I never thought I could move forward.
Yeah.
And I got a job as I went to school. You know what my dream was? I wanted to wear a white lab coat. I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be that somebody who touches your forearm and makes you know that you're going to be okay. I wanted that. But I can't read properly. Wouldn't be able to comprehend the nursing skills or the terminology. I wouldn't have been able to. And I knew that. But I went to school for massage exercise therapy. And when I got that lab coat, I felt so significant. And then when I got healing aids at 34 years old, never too late, and hello, and then things started changing. But I found that laughter was my best medicine in healing.
Yeah.
As a masseuse, I had a woman who had a car accident the day before. It took 2 doctors to put her on my table. I didn't want to touch her. She just had an accident. Her body's inflamed. So what did I do? I stroked her arm, her leg, just gently, and I was making her laugh. I said, so what were you doing? Put makeup on? Were you looking in the mirror? You're gorgeous. You don't have to keep looking in the mirror. This is what gets you in trouble, you know? And I had her laughing for a whole hour with sarcasm, just laughing. I was fascinated as how her body was releasing just from the laughter. And so I also found that when I was done with her for that hour, she was able to get up off the table herself. She wasn't healed by all means. She had, work to do. But that laughter relaxed the body. It puts it in a nice place where I can go into the muscle and really help you with your body, right?
Right.
So now I had 3 clients that bought me this article called Stand-Up Comic, Take a Stand. And it was to help raise money for children with cerebral palsy. I know nothing about comedy. Deaf humor and hearing humor are very different. And so I knew nothing about it. And I thought, if anything comes to me 3 times, it means the Holy Spirit is after me or guiding me. I went to the comedy club. I didn't understand anything. People had their mics in front of their mouth. I couldn't lip read them. I took everything literally. I mean, hey man, what's with the Indian and the red dot on their forehead? What's that for? Target practice? I go, that's not funny. They need that dot. You know, and how do we get so upset? And I went home and I rented videos. This is how old I am, okay? VHS. And I put them in. Robin Williams had the fastest lips I've ever seen in my life. Whoopi Goldberg's lip barely moved. I'm sitting there going, why am I trying to do something that's impossible for me? And I'm crying. And then I thought, it's for the kids. I'm doing this to help raise money for the kids. And I ended up going on stage the first time in front of 250 people. I didn't have hearing aids at the time, so I couldn't hear the laughter. I played off faces that I could see. And don't you think for 1 minute I wasn't nervous, because I was. And then I play off the faces that I could see. And if I saw a face I didn't like, I'd move on to another face. But I won. I was in comedy for 2 weeks and I was just hoping to raise the money. So I won that night. And all I kept thinking, and people came up, you brought the house down. I go, I didn't touch anything. Oh my God, you killed. I go, whoa. And I mean, like, this is really a dangerous career for me to get into. What ended up happening, I thought we raised the money, give it to the kids. Well, then they said, we got to go to semifinals. Well, semifinals, I didn't know what that meant, because I'm just in the hearing world like now, you know, so all these little terms. I ended up placing 4th out of 80 comedians that were in the business from 3 to 10 years, and I was only playing with them for 2 weeks. There's an old saying, you want to make God laugh? Tell him your plan. I did not plan on doing stand-up. I did not plan on being a motivational speaker. I did not plan on being an author. All I ever wanted for myself was to be a part of a sitcom on TV as an actor. But sometimes what you plan in your head doesn't come through. But if you follow your leads, you can get into a career or a life that you never imagined. Being on stage in front of hearing people, making them laugh who belittled me for most of my life, was a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It was a hard thing to do. But may God bless me that it wasn't about me anymore. It was about my audience. So when I get on stage, it's not about my story. It's about what you can learn from my story. How can you grow? How can you find that inner power? How can you change your life for the better? Life should not be difficult. We make it difficult. We don't have problems. We create them. For some reason, society has taught us all this negative stuff on the news, negative, negative, negative. So what do? You get people's attention with negativity. No. You can do it with positivity and change the format of your community. Did I ramble again?
Oh my God, no. No, one of the things that I always do, kind of as we near our time, because Kathy, you and I, we didn't really talk about this. This may be like episode 1. There may be another installment that we do of this. Because what you just said, this is the pause for me, is that part of we all have a story. You and I have talked about this. We all have a story. And when there's in the world of speaking, what they talk about is that when you're getting up in front of a group, whatever the platform is and whatever the program or whatever, that you need to be complete and at peace with your story so that your story can be a contribution and that your story can be a platform where people like on this venue that are listening and watching can hear themselves and tap on your victory, your wins as an inspiration to find that within themselves. So it's not about, it's because you've already transcended all those things. And I was thinking when you said about, it's kind of what our ego plan versus God's plan, which was one of the things you pointed to. And God had a plan. and it doesn't matter if it's you believe in God. I'm saying this to everybody who's watching and listening. Whatever that higher power is, that source power, that our ego, which is a lot of times the place where we get into a lot of problems and self-doubt, and that to me is the world of ego. So then we want to go and be and do somebody or something that isn't really part of our divine gift. So that's very much my quietness. It's not out of you rambling. It's really synthesizing what you said. And that to me is where you're such an, I mean, I just sit here with you going, okay, and it's like, get up, get going, live our lives. That's all there is. And how you've harnessed that. And that's part of the inspiration. And one of the things that I always ask is if there were, and I think this is the piece you just did it, if there were a tip or a tool or a message that you would say, what would be one action that people who are watching and listening within 24 hours from hearing this conversation with you, what would you invite them to go do? If not, go like, go subscribe, do all of that. Go look up, we'll have all the links. But if there was something in action and the inspiration that you are and your message in the world, what would you invite people to go do within 24 hours that will transform their lives?
Start counting your blessings.
Okay.
Counting your blessings. For me, I really believe that God may be deaf, so I don't listen to half of the BS down here. So play deaf once in a while. Play deaf. Quit judging. Quit judging. Quit putting expectations on others, least of all yourself. You know, start looking within. This is a gift. We have so much power. Look, I never knew. I was a victim for so many years to society. I don't follow the rules of society. I wanted to fit in this world so bad, not knowing that all I needed to do was fit within myself, because I had more to contribute in life than I did trying to fit in this a square peg with a round head. You know what I mean? It was just too much. I want to fit in with me.
You know, and Kathy, one of the things, there's so many, I'm telling you, I mean, there are so many things that you're saying that I think about, again, I haven't always talked about this on my podcast. I I trained at Children's Hospital in Boston with kids that had psychosomatic disorders and a lot of challenge, hearing, I mean, all of these things. And then I worked in a school for kids that were outed, that were the resources were there, given what our economy was. So these were children who were failing and had labels. And I used the arts with them and creativity so that they could tap into how they could fit with themselves. And it's a crazy thing that I watched my nephew, who's 8, and he is incredibly creative. He's an amazing little guy. And he is already being labeled on a certain level as a problem child, and that he doesn't fit in because the boundaries and the parameters within the model, I think this again is why I love you so much. And this is what I was so touched by when I first met you and heard you, that even when we look normal, or whatever word we want to use, everybody's looking over their shoulder. Am I okay? Am I acceptable? Do I fit in? So everybody's in this crazy hamster cage of judgment and assessment and trying to fit in with somebody else who's looking and going, do I fit in with you? But we're obsessed on, do you fit in with me? This whole fitting in world that we live in, not realizing I want you to love me, but you want me to love you. So it's kind of this dynamic tension that I've been present to for years. And to me, it's the joke. It is like the cosmic joke. I'm worried about doing okay with you, and you're worried about doing okay with me. So then nobody's present. Nobody's with anybody. And then we're not fitting in and appreciating and loving ourselves. So,
No, and you can't feel
does that
love.
make sense? Does that make sense?
No, it made sense, but you cannot feel love until you love yourself.
Wow.
You cannot give love until you can have it for yourself to give. That old saying, your cup has to overflow, you give them the overflow. But until you learn to know what your refill is, what brings you joy, what puts a smile on your face, what makes you feel full and whole. What are those things? You need to ask yourself the right question. You need to ask yourself, what do I love? What do I make? It can't be another person. It can't be anything. It has to come from within you. And that's when I sat here asking my refill, what is it that I love taking care of me because nobody ever did. I love going in the pool because I don't want to lose my momentum that I can keep walking. You don't think I have a fear once in a while? That little fear comes into my head that maybe I'll end up in a wheelchair again, or maybe I'll have cancer again. You don't think those little voices like to come and dance in my head? Well, I'm not dancing with you. I want to move forward. I want to embrace. I don't know how much time I have on this earth, and that's the most precious thing we'll ever have. The time that we give, the time that we share with other people. But you gotta have time for yourself. You gotta know what makes your heart sing. You gotta know what puts a smile on your face. And sometimes you just need to put a smile on your face when you feel like shit.
Right.
If you put the smile on your face, that feeling will go away. Change your state, change your facial expression, change your beliefs. Look, at most of us grow up with the beliefs of our parents.
Right.
We know that most of our parents did not have very good beliefs. And so we have to create our own beliefs. We have to create our own behaviors. We need not to get stuck. And you know, all of us have the 9-to-5 job. We go to work, we come home, we go grocery shopping. We got ourselves on schedules. Sometimes schedules are good. Sometimes they make you feel anxiety because you may have missed a beat here and there. You create anxiety. And the biggest thing, the gift that you can give yourself, and it was the biggest gift I gave myself to learn what happiness was to forgive.
Yeah.
And let go. The past is an amazing story, but what's the chapter are you living in today?
That's great. So I think, to me, that's a great place for us to take our pause. And one of the things that I wrote down while you were talking, and I want to align with you and invite our listeners and our viewers as a takeaway, is to ask, what is one thing that brings you joy? And go take that action within 24 hours. What is a source of joy in your life? And go do that and make that a priority. And I love the other thing is you wake up in the morning with a frown on your face. You know what? Switch your physiology in that moment. When you put a smile and you engage those muscles and that energy, your whole mood will change. You don't have to change your mind, change your body. That's an access to a state change. And it transforms everything in the moment. So as we wrap up, Kathy, is there anything else that you want to leave people with? I'm asking you a question, but I'm still fascinated from going and being in that competition. And it completely blows my mind, given again that I have been around people through the years and worked as a therapist with people that have had hearing challenges. And to be 34 years old and never have had any kind of support with technology that could help you hear, just the mastery of your sense of people and people reading, the skills and the skill set of that kind of connection with people that most of us who hear don't have. Yes, again, these are all the reasons that I so love and appreciate you. Knowing what the challenges are that, to me, are really just, it's called being alive. Insecurities and self-doubt, and all, everybody's got it. And either we indulge in it or we don't.
I always said that hearing people hear, I listen. And if you take the time to listen, you may enrich your life more. We hear people's words, but we don't listen to their pain or their love or stuff like that. We just have it going one ear and out the other. Communication has been very challenging in this country. And I find that if people would just slow down enough to sit and listen with your heart, don't just hear the words, but listen with your heart. Then you'll have an understanding, the fear. Like women get mad. They can yell at you because they're hurting, but you don't see the hurt. All you hear is this loud voice being attacked at you. Instead of just touching their hand gently and saying, what are you really feeling? What are you're yelling at me, and I don't know what I did wrong. You know, it's connection. And the connection is not out there, and it has gotten worse since everybody texts on the phone and everybody, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so the connection is not what it should be. We are human beings. We are not technology. We use technology, but don't use that to say, I love you. Have somebody hear your voice.
Yeah.
You know, don't say somebody have a good day on your tech. Call them up and say, hey, look, have a great day. Make the human connection. A voice is very important. When I got my hearing devices and I started hearing people's voices, it was a gift. But the gift was not the sound. The gift was I gained my identity and understanding what my limitations were. You have to accept your limitations. I know that I cannot gossip because I can come up with a far greater story than what's actually out there.
Oh, so
Life is precious.
as we wrap up, I really, just so many things that you said. So I'm so grateful. And my invitation and everything will be posted, all the links, how to find Kathy, if what your communities, your organizations, your businesses. Kathy is very broad reaching and available for you to bring her to your community. She's got a nonprofit that you can contribute to. I will put all of those links. And please also, if you like this, like, subscribe, go and check my website out. And Borough-Lawrence, it's my name, it's easy. A lot of the offers that I have, my brand is the Aliveness Revolution. And that's what I'm launching. And Kathy is so part of the Aliveness Revolution. This is everything she stands for. And I really invite you to take Kathy's coaching, which is don't just go and hear or watch this podcast. Go and listen. Open, like she said, people that can hear, they don't even listen. The gift of hearing, we have that opportunity to listen, to read, to integrate, and we don't. And we keep that gift. So that's really my takeaway invitation is go and open your heart and allow yourself to be moved and touched and inspired and listen to that which is there as a gift for you. Tons of love. Thank you for joining the Art of Aliveness with Annie B. I'm Ann Borow-Lawrence. Join us next time for more great interviews with inspiring artists, all backgrounds, shapes, and sizes, where we will be investigating just what is it that keeps people alive, vital, and vibrant in mind, body, and spirit throughout their lifetimes. If you enjoyed this interview, please share it with your friends. Please like the podcast series, and please do subscribe. With much love and gratitude, and see you the next time.